Well, welcome to another expense diary where I'm going to be sharing with you how much money I spent within my business in June. Now, bit of a confession to make, it's technically still June. However, I haven't got any payments due to come out in the next 24 hours and I don't have any time after today to film this video. And because you guys enjoyed the first one so much, I want to make sure that I can share this with you to give you an insight into not only what I'm spending, but also where I'm spending it. If you did watch that first video, which was everything that I spent within April, I will link it below. If you haven't, you'll remember that a lot of my spending that month was just fixed ongoing spending that helps sustain the business. And the reason why I want to share June's with you is because I've spent a little bit more this month and I want to show you when I am spending more and investing in the business where that money is going. So let's start by looking at the total figure, which is £3,563.84. My kind of fixed ongoing spending is around about £2,000. So you can see here that I spent about £1,500 extra this month, which was all focused on leveling up and investing in the business. You can see here by looking at the report that Starling very handily gives to you. Big fan of Starling, not sponsored, but love them, where a lot of that spending is going. The majority of it is being split between professional services, which is people, dividends, which is me, staff again, which is people, and then a pretty even split between most of the other areas that I spend within. So let's take it back to the 1st of June. I don't know what that dance move was, I don't know who I think I am, and have a look at how I landed on that end figure and what all of that different spending looked like. So you can see here that the first payment that comes out of my account every single month is on my pension. Now, getting a pension is just one of the things that I've done within the last year to get a bit more financially stable within my business. Even though I'm only putting aside £50 a month, which realistically isn't that much, it just gives me peace of mind knowing that I am saving for that future self. So £50 is the first payment to come out, and you'll also see within this first screen the way that I use the different spaces that Starling gives you. One of the reasons why I love Starling is because I personally approach my finances with the profit first model. And in order to do that, you need to be able to allocate money to different areas. So the main spaces that I use within Starling are tax, profit, and buffer. So you can see here that when a payment comes into the business, immediately 20% goes into my tax account and 10% goes into my profit account. And you'll also see here money moving in and out of my buffer account. Now, my buffer account is something that I use so that on high income months, I'm putting away some of that money, and then in low income months, I can move that money back if I need to cover expenses. I can do a whole separate video on Profit First and why I love it, but I'll link the book below. I'd really recommend checking it out because it's definitely changed the way that I approach money within my business and just the way that I do my finances. But anyway, that's a whole video within itself. Let's get back to spending, where on the 1st of June, a few other payments came out. The next was £16.23 at Libsyn, which is podcast hosting, and then £612.46 to Emily, who's my part-time team member, and then finally £14.60 to Acuity, which is for my online calendar. So quite a few payments on the first, mainly because most of them are direct debits. And then moving on to the second, we have £13.75 going to Google. That is, I believe, for the email addresses that I use within my business. A little bit dull, but very needed. And then we also have £24.96 going to Adobe. Adobe? No one says Adobe, do they? Which is for the software that myself and Emily use to edit videos, edit this video, edit podcasts, create graphics. You get the picture. And then the final bit of spending on the 2nd of June was one of those investments that I've made in June, which was to As We Are, who is Hannah Anderson. Hannah is actually a past client of mine who is a leadership coach, and I'm working with Hannah at the moment. We have switched roles. I am now the coachee, or the client probably is the right word, and Hannah is helping me with my team culture. Alice Benham Limited is expanding. We are in the process, I say we, it's me, of hiring the next team member, and Hannah is supporting me as I go through that process to basically just make sure that Alice Benham Limited is a great place to work and that the values that the business has aren't just represented in an outside way, but also represented in the culture inside the company too. So that was, I believe, 50% of my payment to Hannah for the coaching program that we are currently doing. And then if we move through to Wednesday, the 3rd of June, the only payment that came out then was £15 to Voxy, which is for my phone. Moving to Thursday, the 4th of June, we have £295.20 to professional services, which is my accountant. I say I wish it was £29, but honestly, whatever the price point was, I would pay it because, again, just the peace of mind of knowing that that's all sorted is so worth it. My accountants are Code Accountants. I'll leave their links below. And then as we move through, we've got a few more payments on the 4th of June. The first is £15 to Cake Drop. I did a competition with one of the launches that I had going on in June where I sent people brownies. So that was me ordering some brownies. And if I can, I always love to buy from small businesses when I am spending within the business because just keeps the cycle going, you know. And then we also have a client refund coming through, which was just for someone that needed to change the way that they were working with me. And finally, £94.23 to Zoom. Now, I know, a lot of money to spend at Zoom. However, they were offering, I think, a pretty hefty discount, about 30% if I remember right, if you signed up on an annual basis rather than monthly. And because Zoom is something I literally use every single day, I knew that I was going to be paying for it monthly anyway, and I figured why not save some money and just pay for it up front. You can also see, this is a good example, on that Zoom payment, the little icon to the left of the pound signs is where I'm rounding up my spending. So I have it set within my Starling account that it rounds up my spending and then puts 5 times whatever the difference is between that and the next pound into one of those spaces. So you can see here, it was 23p, which is 77 pence times by 5, £3.85. That money is moved away into, I think, my fun account, which I'll then show you how I use later in the month. So that's just quite a nice way that I make sure I'm continually putting money aside, even without having to think about it. So I round up my payments, which I'd really recommend doing because it's just an easy thing to do. Moving on, this is a payment that you're going to see on a weekly basis. We've got £169 going to yours truly via dividends. It always depends whether I do this on a Thursday, Friday or Saturday. I think depending on how desperate I am for money that week. But this week I did it on a Saturday. And then no payments coming on the Sunday, but on the Monday we have a few. So the first of those is £116.40 to Simone McNish. Now Simone is a fantastic online creator and business coach that I've recently found, and she was offering an online workshop on diversity and inclusion. So I invested in that, and let me tell you, it was so good. I'll leave her links below if you want to check out the other offerings that she's got going on. Then I also spent £54 on the Coven, which is a membership I'm a part of, £25.20 on Bloom and Wild. I sent one of my past clients some flowers, and £7.99 coming back to me from Amazon. I was about to assume that was an expense, but I think that was where they charged me for Prime, and then I ended up cancelling my Prime, so I got the money back. Thank you, Amazon, for £7.99. Really appreciate that. Moving through, on Thursday, we have £10 going to S Shepherd. If you have ever been a client of mine, you'll know that I'll send you a client welcome pack, which has got some lovely personalized cookies in, and S Shepherd is where I get those cookies from. I'll link them down below if you do want to check them out. But I believe that was for another round of those because I've got some new clients starting and needed to welcome them in. Moving on through, again, we've got my dividends coming out on the Friday, and then on the Saturday, we have £28.80 going to Squarespace. That's an ongoing payment. I pay it every single month. It hosts my website. Pretty necessary. We ignore that. Moving on to Monday, the 15th of June. This is where you can see me using the Fun account from my Starling. Now, I round up all of my payments, and all of those roundups go into a Fun account. It's literally labeled Fun. And then I use that money whenever I want to treat myself or Emily. Something I've recently started doing in the business is that on my Friday meeting with Emily, where we round up on the week, we have G&Ts. So these 2 payments are from Amazon, were me ordering the gin and the tonics and getting them sent to us. In fact, my bar cart's literally right here. One moment, please. Here's one I made earlier. This was the gin from that month. So £28.41. There we go. You'll also see £23.08 going to a GoFundMe. Now, I tend to do most of my charity donations through my personal accounts. I believe it's more tax efficient, but that must have just been one where I have my business details to hand, so it came out of the business. Probably need to chat to my accountant about that and see if I need to refund myself. And then moving through, we have £1.59 to Google Play. I've still not figured out what that payment is. If you watched the last video, you'll know that I didn't know what it was and I said I was gonna look into it. I haven't yet. Oh, I think that's my Google Drive account. I don't know. It's £1.59. We'll let that go. And then as we go through, again on that Friday, we've got dividends to myself, and there's not a lot going on the rest of that week. So moving on to the 22nd of June, I spent £9.46 at Amazon. Very boring purchases. I needed some envelopes to be sending stuff out to. In fact, let me rephrase that. Emily needed some envelopes because she was doing that work, so that was me getting those sent to her. And then the £66.98 at Argos was spent by Emily. We are investing in some podcasting equipment that we can ship around to guests because I am not looking to do in-person recordings anytime soon, and we want to make sure we're getting really high quality on the podcast. So that was Emily ordering a microphone so that we could send that around, which is going to be cool. And then as we move through, not a lot happening other than income, which I won't lie to you, is a good sight to see. I'm not complaining about that. And then on the 25th of June, we've got a fair bit of spending here. We've got £2.49 and then £4.49 over to iTunes. I believe those are both for apps. One is MyLikeU. Wish I could tell you what the other one is. Probably need to look into that. And then we have £390 to Yoko Studio. I think that's how you pronounce it, Yoko. Let's hope so. Anyway, I am working on the visual branding of my business right now. 4 years in, I have no official brand guidelines. I know, who am I? So I am working with a fantastic branding designer to put that together. And that was the first payment, I believe 30% of the payment to begin that process, which is very exciting. And then later on that day, I sent £200 to Sophie French. Sophie is someone who I work with quite regularly. She speaks at my retreat, Gather and Grow. And she also did a guest workshop for my last group program about launching with impact and ease. So that was my payment to Sophie for her doing that. If you were in that program, you will know how good that workshop was. Oh my gosh, was it worth so much more than £200, but that was what that cost me. And then moving on, the final day of spending in June, which was Friday, we've got £120 to Joe from Mad and Sad Club, who is my business mentor. Joe very kindly fit me in for a last minute session on Friday. I was having a bit of a freak out, and then I booked my next session in with her, so just sent £120 over for that future session. Then also spent £11.09 at DPD. This was money that Emily spent to get the microphone that we'd previously ordered from Amazon shipped off to our first guest. So that's going to be a payment that is going to be showing up more and more in the business as we begin shipping that microphone around. And then the very final thing that I spent within June, unless I spend anything in the next 24 hours, is £169 to myself via the form of dividends. It's Alice from the editing suite here, because guess what? I did spend money in those last 2 days. So let me just catch you up on that and then give you the actual total figure for June. So on the 29th, I spent £15 at CleanFeed, which is how we record the podcast. Lots of podcast related expenses this month. And then we have £39.95 and then £5 sent separately because I sent the wrong amount the first time to S. Shepherd, who you saw earlier in the month does my client welcome pack cookies. Got lots of new clients starting, so need a lot of cookies. And then we've got £3.10 at the post office. I believe this was me sending Emily something. I can't remember what it was. I think someone had sent me something to send to Emily because they didn't have Emily's address, so that was me sending it on. And then we have £18 to Audible. I don't know whether this should technically go through personal accounts, but because I read a lot of, or listen to a lot of in this case, like business or personal development stuff, I do it through the business. Should probably double check on that. And then moving through to the final day, Tuesday the 30th of June, another £7.99 went to Audible. Probably need to double check why I spent double amounts at them. And then that is it. So that takes the June total correct figure to £3,652.88. Now I've caught you up to speed, back to the main video. So there we have it. That is the spending that I have had within my business in the last month. I hope that gives you a bit of an insight into not only what it takes to sustain the business, but also when I am spending more in investing, what that looks like too. You'll probably notice that most of my spending when I'm investing in the business is on other people, and that is a very intentional thing. I am a big believer in number one, outsourcing, and number two, getting the perspectives and expertise and insight of other people into the business. Yes, this business is technically me, but that is not a strong business because I have weak spots and I have things that I'm not very good at or just things that I don't enjoy doing. So by hiring people to either do work for me or support me with the work that I am doing, I make sure that a lot of those blind spots or weaknesses are being counteracted by other people who are opposite to me. It also is just a real joy within business to be able to support other people's businesses and not have this constantly feel like a solo thing. When people talk about running a business feeling lonely, I honestly don't really relate because so much of my month is spent working with other people, whether that be my team member Emily or my accountants or people who mentor me or people that I outsource things to. So there we have it. That is another expense diary. I'll make sure to link anything and anyone that I've mentioned within this video down below. Please do subscribe if you enjoy this business and money chat, because let me tell you, there is a lot more where this has come from. But that's it for another expense diary. I hope you found this interesting, and I will one day get better at ending videos. Bye.